Hi, Niels.
Hi, Shubham.
Can you take the lead today? I have a bad throat.
Yep, I can do that.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Let's wait a couple more minutes to see if more people will join in. So maybe let's start. So welcome everybody to the bi-weekly engineering meeting. Shubham asked me to take over the moderation today. I'm happy to do that. So I already shared the agenda from today. Are there any spontaneous 5G updates? Something AGW related?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Yokesh to the call and this some power outage. Let's proceed with the other things. We'll come back to this if he joins.
Okay, great. Then next one, orchestrator update, Sebastian, with the container Ubuntu version.
Yes, that's quite a short update. So the orchestrator container used to run a really old Ubuntu version, Ubuntu 16, and we upgraded it to Ubuntu 20 Focal that's running almost everywhere else in Magma 2. Actually, this upgrade was finished a few weeks ago, but we didn't merge it because of the Artifactory switch. But by now, we feel confident that the new Artifactory is working correctly. So if you notice any weird orchestrator issues, it's possibly due to this upgrade. But so far in tests, it looked fine. And that's it from me.
Any questions for that? Then next is the DevOps update. We have already heard from Sebastian that the Artifactory switch seems to work nicely. Then next one is Marco with an update to the CI dashboard.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me just quickly grab the screen.
It's visible, but you are muted.
Okay, now it should be better.
Yeah.
Okay, I will just show you quickly the update we did to the CI dashboard. On the left-hand side, you can see the legacy one, so to say, the dashboard that you are used to. And on the right-hand side, the current state. So what we did, we changed this column over here, sorry. It displayed the LTE Intec tests on a build with Make. And now
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that we're only seeing one side, which I think is the new side.
Ah, okay, you're seeing one. Ah, okay, this should not happen then. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, then I will quickly try to okay, now you should see the old side. Here you have the LTE Intec test based on the Make build, and the current one you have the LTE Intec test based on a containerized HEW. It's currently orange because there's a little bug in the back end I'm fixing right now, but you are able to see the test results already. We did this for two reasons. One, we wanted to get rid of the Make-based one because we now usually rely on the Intec tests run from a precompiled Magma version on a plain Ubuntu machine. And two, we want to have the chance to test the containerized HEW. And this is what we display now here.
So,
are there any questions?
1 second. I don't.
Okay, if this is not the case, then I will hand over to Niels again.
Yeah, thank you. I will share my screen again. So the second DevOps update was basically already discussed yesterday in the monthly DevOps meeting. So just for completeness to have it here as well, this is a shout out. As everybody know, we have some changes in the structure of Magma. So the so-called community mode is starting. So the community gets more responsibilities. And as you might know, a couple of responsibilities, for example, DevOps, are taken over currently by mostly paid contractors that will part by part leave the Magma project. So in order to have these topics covered, it might be nice if the community steps forward to take over a couple of these responsibilities. This includes, for example, code ownerships, moderate meetings, and general handover where currently people are working on. So feel free to contact us in Slack if you are interested and want to take over parts here, and are also interested in getting some handover informations from people who are currently working on these topics. Any questions for this shout out?
Thanks, Yokesh. If you're in the call, can you see if we can, work with the team to get some knowledge transfers, please?
Sure, Kader. We'll plan it out. Yeah.
Great. Thanks a lot. So then next part is test stabilizations. There was some movement here. So we got a couple of green integration test runs, but it's very detailed and I guess not noteworthy for this round. Release update. I assume there is no update here. If there is, please stop me.
I don't
Yeah.
think that there's a release update, but I'm not sure if someone has a look at the current state of the GitHub issues tagged as followed from the release. Maybe it's someone could look through and give an update on that at some point, just as a very broad comment.
Sure. Yeah. So, meaning in general for 5G, we have been updating a few of that of 4G as well, where it was more from a clarification. We did that, but yeah, I think that's a fair point. I guess from next meeting onwards, I'll try to keep it here so that it's visible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you. Then for the Basel update, this was already presented yesterday in the DevOps meeting, but it's kind of in the gray zone between DevOps and feature development. I will quickly go over it. Lars is not here today. He worked mostly on this, but he asked me to present this quickly. As you know, a couple of people currently working on Basel. Basel as a build system relies massively on remote caches. This means if Basel builds are running in CI, if there are no remote caches, then the build becomes slow. This is, of course, problematically if we don't have access to AWS, which might be the case in the next year. And in order to mitigate this, we had some planning and have an approach running that is already merged to master. So the question is how to get efficient caching without the remote caches. And the idea is as follows. We already have a Docker image called Basel Base, where before this change, all tests were executed in. So all tests like unit tests, coverage, the release build. And the idea is that we have a job that runs weekly that executes all these builds in this Bazel-based Docker image. This, of course, will take some time because it will run without remote caches. But the point is it runs weekly. I think currently it's configured for a Saturday, so where there's not much movement in development. And these builder image then, they have a local cache. This cache will be put into the base Docker image. By doing this, it becomes very small because we only have the caches and not the created artifacts. And these images get published. This will be done for different kinds of build flavors. So we have something we call cache plain. So this is basically the unit test without any modifications. We have cache prod. This is for production builds. As you might know, Magma can be built in development mode and production mode. And we have cache address sanitizer. We have also with Make the possibility to build Magma with the address sanitizer in order to figure out to see if there are problems in the C services. These images are then used in the various different tests that we run with Bazel. So it will be used for AGW, Python, C and C++ unit tests and coverage. For the unit test, this is already on master. For coverage, pull request is currently in review. Unit test with dev config, Python service import check, Debian release build, and so on. And the results show that this is basically equally fast as using the remote caches from AWS. And we are confident that we can shut them down before 2023, before next year. So then we can rely on these Docker image cache approach. Any questions for that? Then thank you for listening. Then next one is Lucas with security updates.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen.
Sure.
So I came across a scrap of code that uses a insecure coding practice. This code implements a confidentiality algorithm called mileage, and we do a few things wrong. First, we have several different implementations, and obviously you want to standardize on just one for maintainability and higher quality code, which leads to fewer possibilities of exploits. Out of the 3 implementations we use, doesn't seem likely that any of them are like the best one out there. They're just kind of relatively random. Out of these 3 implementations, we host them all, more or less. We have one spun off here, one here that obviously is associated with Magma, and I think turned into this. And we have one here. And then lastly, it's not good practice to implement your own cryptographic code ever, right? Like you just don't want to do that. It's hard, and when you make a mistake, even a really tiny one, it can lead to important failures. So we should do a few things differently. We should use just one. We should pick the best one with care, and we should get rid of all of our own implementations, unless we have good reason to think they're the best. Before I talk a little bit more about what I want to do about that, let me just open the floor for thoughts. Okay, so I'll go on. I hunted around for a better provider. There are two that look like they're better than ours and have a little bit of momentum behind them. I'm working on evaluating these, and I will look to pick the best one, probably by running a fuzzer, and then replace ours with this. And the takeaway for the team as a whole is don't create cryptography. Don't write don't write that code. Avoid it whenever possible. And people can expect to see me hooking in this new code in the near future. That's it for me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think, sorry. Yeah, Lucas, I think there is one more 5G thing also there. So maybe I'll just have a look at the PR. We do one more encryption. So yeah, maybe I'll just go through your PR and
Good.
ask any questions. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I would appreciate that observation. And if you see any other code floating around that breaks this principle, it'd be great.
Sure, sure.
Then we can jump back to the beginning. Again, are there any 5G updates you want to share?
Nothing as such, Nils. I think what happened from last week was there were some build instabilities in our local this thing. So it was red. So we resolved it. So all the test cases are going fine. There is no specific commit. We are just keeping an observation. So there is no code commit as such. We were just trying to make sure that all combinations of the builds work in our different setups. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I think last week you looked into running the Basel build Debian artifact. Did you actually execute the 5G tests on this artifact?
Yes, meaning
Yes.
it
Okay.
was just, yeah, it was like basic sanity of 4G, 5G, just to see how it goes. Everything was good. Right now we are not using it in our daily CIs. We are using the 1.8, but we just picked up to see, just to see how it behaves and everything is smooth. Yeah, so all basic test looks good.
Okay, thanks a lot for testing this and giving the feedback. So then I guess we are at the end of the agenda. Are there other spontaneous topics you want to talk about? Then I guess we can end the meeting early. Thank you very much and have a nice day or evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.